here. Okay. So, good morning on behalf of the board of ICA-Belgium. Very nice to see you all at this very early hour on Sunday morning, and maybe you're somewhere else in the world and your time is totally different as ours. So, but still very welcome. Still have to admit a few people. Wait. Okay. As you might know or might not know, ICA-Belgium is a color association in Belgium. And with this color association, we want to provide a platform between science, art, design, and industry in relation to color. Because of regulations due to COVID, we organize these color talks on many different aspects of color. So this morning, our color talk, we invited Inez Michiels. She's also one of our board members, and Maya will introduce her to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's really nice to see so many of you. I'm very happy and honored to introduce Inez Michiels, who will speak today about her Design Semantics Database. Inez is a director at City of 8, Design Semantics Research Association, and co-founder of the Belgian Interdisciplinary Color Association. She obtained a Master of Arts from the Artesis Plantain University College of Antwerp. In cooperation with the Academy of Fine Arts Antwerp and the University of Antwerp, Department of Communication Sciences, she did research into the link between art and emotion. She published a series of papers and books on design semantics. She's a guest lecturer at the University of Antwerp, Department of Interior Architecture, and at the Maryland Institute College of Art, Baltimore, Department of Graphic Design. She's a member of the AIC study group on environmental color design. So Inez, welcome, and the screen is yours.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you are all here to listen to my talk about my big work, the Design Semantics Database. I've been working on it for years, tens of years, and slowly but surely it's coming to shape. And I want to show you what is the content, what is the structure of it, and I end with a case so you can see how you can use it. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Okay, can everybody do this?
Yes, we can, Inez.
Okay. Yeah, okay. This is the front page, the opening page of the Design Semantics Database, which I'm going to call from now on DSD. That's easier. First on the structure, you see here, there are 3 levels. The first level and the third 64 level. I'm going to explain this a little bit. Because the whole structure of this database is built on a 3-dimensional model. It's the semantic color space, I call it. I'm gonna, first, of course, I forgot to, wait a minute, to give you some links. I'm gonna stop share and give you some links in the chat, where you can, of course, one from the database itself. Okay. And the others are to these 2 papers I published about the semantic color space and also about the DSD. Okay. This is done. All right, I'm going to start the share screen again. Okay, right. So the DSD, the structure based on a 3-dimensional space, which I call the color semantic space or cube. And a cube is a three-dimensional thing, so it has 3 dimensions in it: depth, height, and breadth. There are 8 corners on the cube, and if you double the cube, 8 to 8 is 64. And that is the whole structure where this database is built on. So you have, now what the difference is between these levels, because it is a semantic database, everything is connected to keywords. And these keywords are divided into these levels. On the dimensional level, you really have very basic keywords like long, short, dark, light, above, below, back, front. On the 8th level, you have keywords that are combinations of these dimensions. So you have keywords like, or you have primary colors, for instance, like for instance, the red color, this one, that is at the front of the cube, on top of the cube, and on the right of the cube. This is, because it is on the front, it is a warm color. Because it is on top, it is a dominant color or a dominating color. And because it is on the right, it is an activating color. So that is how we describe these primary colors in the cube. The position decides the parameters of the color or of the notion. Now on the 64 level, you get a doubling. You get, so the 8 primary colors are combined to each other, and this results in a 64 categorizing system. Now, I will go first to give an example of that 3-dimensional level. You have depth, height, and breadth on the basis, and depth, height, and breadth on the adjective. This is because we have, at the end, a 64 level system. But if we go to the height base dimension, for instance, you get keywords that are meaningful in regard to that location. So on the top level, you have that what is dominating, what is on top, what is heavy, what is hard. And then you have all the other things like emotions, psychology, color palettes, shapes, composition, texture, and body language, all the parameters that are connected to that dimension, to that hardness, to that heaviness, to that dominance. So for instance, let's say the top area, the area from, for instance, a shape is on top or at the bottom. This is a very different emotional reaction you can evoke with it. And you can see what kind of emotions that are connected to it. So if you put a volume on top of a shape, it will kind of dominate. It will have a heavy and a sort of control effect. Now, everything that is, I think what I really want to reach is that everything that I say here is substantiated with scientific research. And the quotes here are quotes from research papers I found everywhere in the world, from universities, from research associations, from artists, from designers. And they give you a real substantiation of the design choices you are making. So yeah, the quotes are very important. Now for the 8th level, I will give another example. We can go, for instance, to the brown color here. You come to a page where there's a little explanation. You have here a list of keywords on the 8th level that are connected to the primary color. You have the primary color itself here, with the parameters, how it is built. You have also codes and so, but it doesn't show at the moment. You have connection to color palettes. You have connection to primary shapes, to composition, to texture, to body bearing, to meaning, yeah, that's the page we just came from, to emotion, and to personality. Now on the 64 level, I want to show you an example. For instance, brown on black. Takes some time, yeah. You come here to the page brown on black with the meaning overview. These are all keywords that's related to it. Also related combination. This means related in the dimensional space, related one dimension difference only. So for instance, orange on brown on black and blue on black differs only in the depth dimension. So you can travel through the color space just by going every time one dimension each, and you will see that the meaning also shifts slowly and within little differences. So in fact, you could make a line of a storyline through the space. What I want to show you here also is that on the 64 level, you also have access to 64 shades. And every color combination here is linked to a shade. And it is not what you would expect by mixing these both colors, but it is through the mathematics of the color space and the codes that are within it, these colors are connected. But you can find this, we have done a lot of research on this. I cannot go deeper in it because it will take too much time. But if you look, for instance, at a bakery here, you see a lot of bakeries that use the colors brown on black, but also this sweet pastel pink, pastel red. This is the pastry here. This is something you often see, and that pink color. So you see, so there is a meaningful connection between the color combination and the color shade. Now I want to go a little bit deeper into the content, what is here into, this is the content. First the keywords. These are divided into these levels. You have the dimensional keywords, the 8-level keywords, and 64-level keywords. So for instance, the dimensional keywords, you get them alphabetically listed. You have the 8-level keywords, 64-level. You also have a keyword analyzer. This is very interesting because, for instance, if you have an assignment and a keyword is given for you to start from, and you have a team, often people have a different understanding of the meaning of a keyword. This comes through education or through culture. So the keyword analyzer helps you to understand the keyword better and to are in unison about the meaning. So I will open it So there are a few questions you have to answer. And you can put the sliders to put it on, and then the calculation button, and it will guide you through a page where there is a color combination, a shape, and a color shade. All on the 64 level. That's about keywords, and you have then the shape parameters. You have the parameters of shape, the primary shapes, and the 64 shape families, and also a shape analyzer. The shape analyzer is a little bit same as the keyword analyzer. With sliders you can set and then press the button and see what kind of color combination or color shade is connected to it. So these are the parameters you can set and then calculate. We go back to the shape and have a look at the parameters more deep. Yeah, we had, I showed you the area parameter. No, not yet. Yeah, here, the area top bottom. So these are the shape parameters. So go back. Corners, lines, sizes, directions, area, structure, and then also a complete list of all the parameters available. So for the corners, for instance, you have a few. Every chapter has its blunt, sharp, angle, round, sunken, swollen. Go back to shape. We have the 64 shape families. These are connected to color combinations and to color shades. So if we take this one, it's the green on green shape. See here some shapes that fall into these parameters. These are the parameters of the shapes you can see here. Keywords that are connected to it and some quotes, but there aren't any yet. And also here you can see the related shapes, so they differ only into one dimension. So for instance, if you take this one, you go from angular to round. It's only one dimension. Or this one, you go from thin to thick. You go from vertical. The meaning is what the difference in the meaning is. For instance, if you go to simple and complex, go there. You can see what this shape means. If there are any keywords in it. These are the keywords connected to it. Okay, what's next? We had color and shape. Now we go to composition. The composition information only goes to the 8 level. The 64 level is coming, still working on it. Here also you have these position parameters and primary compositions. So you can choose one. Take this one. The purple composition. See the parameters, some quotes, some keywords connected to it, and then the related shapes within the 8 level. Okay, we go back to the overview. Then we have the texture. Also the parameters of texture, although it is still, there is still a lot of work on this, but you have access to the primary texture anyway. So it's coming soon, the texture information. But here you have 8 primary textures. For instance, this one. Come to a page on the 8 level with a range of textures that fall into that parameter combination. You have the keywords connected to it and the quotes, and also the synesthetics that are connected to it. And you have the last, or the almost last, is the body posture. Also here, I didn't, the 64 level is coming. Definitely, you have the posture parameters divided into body bearing and body movements. It's as if you go to the movements, you have these subdivisions. Okay, go to body. I just wanted to show you the 8 level, the 8 level postures. This is the red one. Keyword connected to parameters and some other, and then the quotes. Okay. The last one is the taste, but here in the taste, it's just a list of keywords related to taste. I'm still working on it to make it more into deep. But at least you have some tastes and colors connected to it. Now, I think I just one last thing I want to show, and that is the bibliography. An impressive. I still have to talk about emotion and personality. Sorry. Emotion and personality, meaning is in fact keywords. Emotion, you have also only to the 8 level the emotion information, but there are already emotions on the 64 level into the keywords, and later on I want to add them as within these groups. So, but you have here a list of all the emotions that are in the database yet. So that is also already a large list where you can choose from to start with, or you see a lot of keywords. Right. And then about the personality, you have parameters. These are 6 parameters here, and you have the 8 primary personalities, profiles. You can see, for instance, if I take the white personality, it's called a team player. You see the related types, you see the parameters, and you see the keywords connected to it, codes, but there aren't yet. All right. Now the last thing I wanted to show you is the something else. Too quickly. Context here. Keywords are divided under a few context words like finance, food and drink, travel. Food and drink is a little bit the same as a taste, although it's a little bit the food and drink category is much more. Not only taste, but also things that have to do with drinking and eating. Finance, beauty, for instance, I take beauty. You see a list here that are related to beauty. You have the last one is culture, and still needs to be filled in a lot, but I have already a few countries where I have information from, thanks to Ivar Jung, who did incredible research. I will take Iran, for instance. This is coming from his research. You see here these keywords connected to colors, a research that was done in Iran. So for every country you have keywords in colors connected to it. So it's a very nice information you got here. And then, of course, I want to end this content information with the bibliography, which is really impressive, I think. These are all the papers and books I took the quotes from. And I can show you an overview. You can look at the quotes overview. You can see all the quotes that are in the database yet. It is my goal to add a lot more of these. But of course, it takes a lot of time to extract these from books, type them over, put them in the database. But it's already something, you know. It's really good. And it's also very good if you are a designer and you want to substantiate your design before a client or before your chef. You can do it with a quote. And it's really convincing. It's not my gut feeling anymore, but it's that research said it is so. So it's very important. It's also, I think, going into a new era where science is introduced into design, and that is a new trend. And I think it is a trend that will stay and even will grow. And the database makes it possible for you as a designer to become more scientific, to look at more, to have a look at what research has proved or what research has done. And it helps you a lot to become aware that what your gut feeling is saying sometimes also is something that has been proved. So, okay. Now I want to end here with a case. Let's see. Yeah, I still have 20 minutes. I have a case here. I will do the hearing room interior design. It was done by a student at the time. Now she's an interior architect. She was a student at the University of Antwerp, and she was doing her master project in 2018. The master project was to redesign the interior of an old style Palace of Justice. And she was so kind to give me her explanation on how she used the database in just a part of her master project, and that was the interview room. So I will explain how she used it, how she built it up, her project. Now, first she investigated the emotions and the atmospheres that the room radiates. So she made a sort of machine with the interview room at the middle and some keywords around it. What she underlined with red, she said that were the most important keywords. She would start from that. And then the next exercise was to see how does it have to be, how could it be ameliorated. So the interview room must give some importance. It must radiate trust, security, but also a feeling of freedom. Important when you are in a Palace of Justice, where the difference between freedom and no freedom is thin. So then she made an in-depth study in which the semantic dimensions from the DSD are applied with the aim of implementing attendant emotions in the design. She made a sort of list. We'll open it here. Interview room, first the requirements, the emotions, and the goal. Now you see here she made use of the 3 dimensions that are also available in the DSD, pleasure, dominance, arousal, the 3 dimensions of emotion. That's also a good start to decide about your design. Okay, going back here, yeah. Oh, this doesn't work. Going back, wait a minute. Oh, sorry, it's gone. Interview. Yeah, that's because going here. So, okay, this is one. Then step 3, she brings this data together in a worksheet in which color, shape, and composition are selected and the choices are justified. So she goes to the research, the interview room, and she makes some color selections. So what she gets from the information from the database is that green is inactive and compliant. These are keywords from the dimensional level. Also keywords, fate, safety, peace, nature. This comes from research from Jones in 2014. If we have a look at that sort of green, it's a sort of lighter green. We can have a look at the color here. And we look at the shades. It's this lighter green. You see here also hope. There, if you go to the color combination or to the keyword page, you have fate also, hope, longing, belonging to this color. So that's why I have to, there is the banner here from Zoom just on top of my screen and I can't switch. So we have to go back to the case. Okay, going back. Going back to the research. We have that white, soft white, that little bit pink, orange white. The pink white we already viewed here in relation to bakery and pastry. It's very soft but what she here has written under meaning, it's about the primary color white. And Jones here also is talking about clarity, purity, about white as a color, as a primary color. Also, what I have found out is that if you put something on a white background, it comes over very honest. Something also you can find in the database. Then you have the brown. That keywords, inactive dominance, warm, comfortable, stable. Research Jones did, and something also that is also in the database. If you go to the brown color, keywords that are related to it. So we go to the 8th level. Here. See keywords here. Relaxed, for instance, stable, support, or connected to this to the brown primary color. Okay, we go back to the content here. Content, no, the started case. One moment, it's slow. Yeah, there it is. She also did research on shape. Yeah, this is where she placed it. Here's the color combination white on green. And green on white also appears here, but white on green is more generally in her design. You have the dark floor, and then you have the shape research you did, rectangular, square, and rounded. So also things you can find in the database, inactivity of the square shape, the activity of the rounded shape, and so on. The meaning of long, straight, asymmetry, small shapes and volumes, horizontal and below. I will give you one example from so if we go to shape, to the parameters. Parameters of shape, and then it is the lines, I think, long, short. So you have the components, long, short. You have the emotional keywords that are connected to it, and you have the quotes. Calm, static, relaxed, sleepy, unaroused, on the other hand. And short lines are experienced as restless, excited, awake. So you can see what is the emotional reaction of the design choices you make. Now we go back to the cases. To the hearing room. And this is then the result, what she did. She made a maquette, and also this drawing here was her master project, and she had high points with this work. They were very impressed with her research. So I think she did a good job. Voila. So I hope I gave a good overview and a start for you to dive into this data, because it is huge. And you can use it in several ways. For instance, you can, on one hand, you can use it to create, and on the other hand, to analyze. And if you create, for instance, you can start with different starting points. You can start from a keyword, from a color, from a shape, from emotion, from personality, from function, or from context. These are the starting points you have here. And if you just want to analyze an existing design, which I explained a little bit in the other case from the Winchester packing, you can wait, this is not analyze. You have the color analyzer. You can find shades of color. You have the 64 color combinations to start from. You have the shape analyzer. You have the keyword analyzer, and you have the function analyzer. So this helps you with analyzing the designs you have. Okay. Yeah, I think for the moment, that's all I have to say. The only thing is, I'll stop my screen. I'm also working on courses I'm building. And one who will come soon is called Color Semantics for Interior Architects. And in fact, tomorrow it's going to be a tryout at the university with the students of the Interior Architecture department. So I guess it is really going to be a good course. I'm really excited about the feedback I'm going to get tomorrow, and I will adapt the course according to their feedback, and I will think it's going to be a great course. And also I will make other courses, but it's a long time plan.
Okay, thank you, Inez.
Right.
Maybe we go to the, it's very impressive, I must say. Maybe I put the screen now on thumbnails. Wait one moment. I put them back on gallery, so if people want to show up and ask questions themselves, it's also possible. I must say, wow, Inez, wow, wow, wow.
Oh, I have no sound.
Okay, sorry, I pushed it on. So I was very fortunate to have a course with Inez about the design semantics. I just took out my model once more. And that was about 6 years ago. And then everything was still, we had a book and we had all these materials about feeling and texture and form and shape and all these things. And now it's the first time I see it in this database, and I'm very impressed. I really must congratulate you, Inez, on this tremendous work that you did.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, how did you get actually interested in doing this semantics and this database? What is your passion about all of this?
Well, it started a long time ago in the end of the 80s, 1987, I think, when I first met Vera Alpaerts, who was writing about semantics. He was a mathematician. He had nothing to do with design, but I was trying to get a curriculum as an artist. So I was daily working with colors and shapes, but he had already a theory about these primary colors, and that's what I got interested in. And so I started to listen to him. We had weekly talks about his work. I really was interested in this because I was stuck a little bit in my own work. About, yeah, I'm using colors, but what in fact am I doing? That was my main question. And with these talks with Vera, slowly but surely I got answers. And so Vera, we later became partners. I married him. He was my husband. So we worked very closely together. And he, in fact, was the founder of the data structure of the database. So many thanks to him also for his tremendous work he did. And I, from my design background, I turned it into design-related information. And it started also with courses I gave But if I think about it now, it was very, complicated.
You always have to start somewhere, Inez. So
That's right.
I mean, I liked the course very much. It gave me a totally different insight about design and how to approach it. So I thought it was very valuable. But of course, if I see what you did now, I'm very impressed. So maybe Inez, also because of the time, I will see the questions. Kazim, thank you for joining us again. He is asking, what is the connection between color combinations and synesthesia?
Yes, in my view, synesthesia happens on the dimensional level. So research also has shown that you can compare parameters of color, for instance, with parameters of shape. For instance, you have sharp colors, but also sharp shapes. So there is a connection between them. There is also an important research was done. I forgot the name of the researcher, but it's very well known under the Bouba-Kiki effect. And there is a connection made between a shape and a sound. So you had two shapes, sort of blob shape, so rounded, blobby shape, and a sort of sharp star shape. And there were two keywords that you had to connect to them. That was Bouba and Kiki. And it was a research that is done all over the world, from all ages, even with little small children, they did it. And it was an immense result. I think more than 98% connected Kiki with the sharp shape and Bouba with the blobby shape. So you see, there is, and also, although I'm not a neurologist, but it is proven in our brain that there is a location where all these different senses are connected to each other and connected to emotions also. So,
okay, I suggest we first go through the questions that are in the chat, and Kazim and everyone else who wants to stay after 10 o'clock to have a little bit more in-depth discussion with Inez, please stay on if the answer wasn't satisfactory or if you want to know more. Then a question of Olivier. Do you relate semantic of colors with their relations in color space?
Yes, yeah, that is also a connection because the color space, the natural color space, to give it a name, so not the semantic color space, but the other color space, also is built up with 3 dimensions. And it is very easily to put these dimensions of the natural color space and connect them to the dimensions of the semantic color space. For instance, a lot of research has connected the saturation parameter with activation. So it is in the semantic color space, the breadth dimension, and it has to do with activation. So the more vivid the color is, the more it will activate. The more gray a color is, the more it will calm down. So that is the connection with the natural color space.
Okay, thank you. So Olivier, you can always stay and then ask more about this afterwards. A question from Christina. How did you validate the keywords and shapes associated to each color?
Yeah, of course, the shapes also are built up from parameters. And that was, in fact, the starting point. So every shape was brought down by its parameters. And these parameters are easily comparable, also within research. For instance, a round shape is connected to activity, and a square shape to passivity. So these are connections you can make, so you can connect it to active colors and to passive colors, for instance. So a circle, for instance, as a shape is closely related to the color red because of its dynamism. Both, they are very dynamic, have a dynamic meaning, while on the other hand, a square is static, and that connects more with the color green as opposites. So green, red, square, round, or square, circle, on the other hand.
Okay, so also, Christina, we kindly invite you to stay on if you have more questions about this, to have a little bit more in-depth about it. Kasim has another question, Inez. Semantics of color may change from society to society. How, according which rules, are the meanings of colors chosen?
Yeah, of course, there are cultural differences, but it is not the semantics that is different, but it is the meaning that is given to a certain event or some certain keyword that is different, that is culturally determined. So I will give an example. You have marriages, for instance. In the Western world, the bride usually wears a white dress, and with that she communicates her purity, her virginity. And on the other hand, in China, for instance, the bride wears a red dress, and red is also a color that means happiness. And that is also what the Chinese want to communicate with it. So you see, at the first hand, it looks like the colors have a different meaning in culture, but it isn't that, because red in Western world also means happiness. For instance, if you look at the Coca-Cola advertisements with that primary red associated with happiness, and you have also in China publicity where the purity needs to be expressed, and then they also use white. So it is not the meaning that is different, but it is what the meaning that is associated to an event or to an object or anything else. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Verena, also welcome. I just answered your question in the chat. You can find the link on the top of the chat. And apparently, Inez, the middle link isn't working.
Oh, isn't working. Okay.
So maybe maybe it's an idea to send all the links to the email that is
okay, I can do that
afterwards. And just check if everything is working.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Well, not everything can be perfect. So Inez, thank you very, very much for this great presentation and for all your hard work that you are doing. I suggest to now stop the recording, and for those of you who want to stay, what I said before, we kindly invite you to stay and have another discussion. Please put on your camera on that occasion, because then we would like to see your friendly faces this Sunday morning. So for now, thank you very much. Have a great Sunday, or maybe Sunday evening, wherever you are in the world. And then we hope to see you next year. We continue all these beautiful color talks. We have a great variety of speakers again with very different topics. So color is everywhere, so the topics can be endless also. So have a nice day and hopefully see you next month, and or maybe after this discussion.